Good evening, fight fans. Welcome to another great episode of Headkicks and Haymakers. I'm your boy Bodkins, and of course with me is Mr. Bobby Blunts. We are coming to you a day later. It was Grandma Blunts' birthday yesterday, so Bobby got to celebrate Grandma Blunts' birthday while we moved the show to today, which was fine. We got to watch a little bit of the presser. It was weird that it happened at like 5 o'clock my time and not 10 o'clock, 8 o'clock at normal. So it was just a weird time to watch the presser. But then I was like, oh, they did it because the fight tomorrow is on the East Coast, or the weigh-ins and everything are probably on the East Coast time. So, it's this UFC 316. I'm waiting for Stone Cold Bobby to come down to the octagon, cut a promo. I made a joke. I said, just don't let him drive down there. But, here we are. It's UFC 316. It's after that shit sandwich they tried to give us last weekend. Here we are with the best, a better of the cards.
Yeah, I think they dulled me down into getting hyped because, when this first came out, I was very, very take it or leave it. It was like, ooh, we're really doing this again.
What up, boys?
And through some of just watching the fight week and stuff, I said last week, I think them putting that patchy mix, that really kind of beefs up this card. To me, that's kind of like the people's main event. But, I'm sure we'll get into it later, but kind of the energy I'm seeing from O'Malley in fight week is coming off a lot better than it was, last time when they were doing the Noche and stuff. So hopefully it goes out without a hitch. But, you took the words out of my mouth. I don't even think it is worth getting into because that was the worst event TKO has ever put on in the TKO era. And I would stand by that even if the main event did not get canceled. Ironic, the one fight I wanted to see got canceled, but, shout out to Justin Jacoby for getting that knockout. We all figured he would win, but man got robbed of a bonus. But that's it. We'll leave the Apex in the past. I've already gone on about it far too long.
Yeah, real quick on last week's show, I actually fell asleep, I think, during the Gamrot fight. And then I woke up the next morning. I was like, I'll turn on the fight because I missed it. And I was like, oh shit, they got canceled. I guess I did watch the main event. And that was the epitome. That's the pinnacle of what the Apex is right there. That's that card, what happened to the main event, that's perfect. That's the Apex, baby.
And literally the one part that was worth watching for, and I don't mean to really bask in someone's shortcoming and health issues, but Daniel Cormier was being prime DC when they had, because it was just so awkward. They were not really used to this situation, and Sanko's doing her best to keep it professional. Meanwhile, DC's getting texts from Gaethje and everyone because they see him wanting to bust up in laughter. And, it was kind of bizarre, but, long story short, at least Blanchfield got paid. Hopefully Macy's on the other side of the health things. But it's definitely kind of a scary scenario for her. So hopefully that all gets worked out. And
she still got 20% of her purse.
Yeah. They did about as right as they could. The one pushback I would kind of say, and this just kind of shows how uninvested the UFC is in these events, I still can't believe that they don't have, someone on standby for a main event like this, especially when, Macy has had these concerns in the past. but like that literally just shows you that all they care about is filling that content slot. And, like people are like tweeting memes about Dana, like being all like frustrated. It's like, do you think he had any idea this shit was going on? He was probably
he wasn't even there. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
he was at the tables on a heater and just completely, he still might not know. And spoiler alert, he wasn't at the press conference. Well, Nate Diaz not surprised that one because I think I had an over under in 11 minutes for that presser, and I think it just went over there. But
it was a quick one. I was surprised.
Yeah, I mean, we need to make a petition to stop doing these things on Thursday, which is like the hardest day of that weight cut. I mean, Marab looked like he was knocking on death's doorstep, literally. Like, I mean, those cheekbones were showing, and grabbing two hands with the mic because he was shaking. And I mean, is it that much harder to bump it to Wednesday? I know they got the media day and all that the day before.
What if you did it? What if you did it? What if you did it at the beginning of the week? You did it. Let's just say you did it Sunday or Monday night.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be completely fine with it. I think the reason TKO does it the way they do is because they just fly by the seat of their pants and they want to kind of use it for that like small promotion of the fight. But like, let's be honest, these things are so far in between with that anymore. I mean, the prime things in these pressers used to be, who's going to be that one guy to, actually sack up and ask Dana a difficult question. And I mean, the most interesting stuff that happened this weekend literally had nothing to do with the Apex. They moved the Noche card to a fight night. And now if they actually do Volk Yair, that's going to be even more of a travesty if it is. So, hopefully the MMA gods shine down on us for that. I got a feeling that TKO is still going to stick us with a rematch bill, but let's knock on some wood that don't happen.
Yeah, real quick, we'll go back to the 316 stuff here in a minute, but I'm glad you said that because I had forgot. Like the sport moves fast, life moves fast. I forgot about that. They did move and it's no longer a pay-per-view. It's going to be, like you said, it's going to be a fight night in San Antonio. So Volk, speaking on that situation, because it looked like we were hearing like Volk versus Yair in Guadalajara, but Volk was on some show, or he said like nothing's signed. He thought it was going to be Moser next. Like he thought it was going to be Imolov next because he's undefeated. He's like, but then there was a lot of talk of Yair. It seems like he was gonna be next, but there's nothing been signed. There's no dates, no nothing. So it seemed like they were maybe leaning that way, and now that cancels that. And also now you're not getting it. It's not really going to compete with so much with the Canelo fight either. So so like that, maybe they're going to get back in the kind of maybe Dana and Turkey will hash out with all that shit as well. And kind of go from there. So that was interesting. Before I want to start looking more at 316. The PFL, our guy Don Davis, your best friend. We'll have to get him on the show, but they've been making some moves here. They cut ticket prices. First, they said we're not doing this like Apex-esque type thing in Orlando. We will be on the road, and we're going to make it cheap. We're going to make it, I think $20. Was it $25 a ticket for any place? I guess from anywhere you want to sit at. So I was like, shit. All tickets will be $25 or so. I feel like they probably could make it a little bit more if you're closer to the cage, but I mean, hey, $25 is $25. And then today he puts out. Remember, I kept asking him. He kept saying about the Sony TV deal. And I was like, what the hell is that? Well, he said, I guess they said, we don't need the Sony TV. What we are going to have is an app. Everybody just download the app and you can watch all our fights for free.
And not only that, it's got like the entire roster in there. So if you care to kind of look up and have any questions with stuff, a really good move, especially because like I saw them announce the PFL Africa stuff and I saw nothing about the TV for America. And I kind of got the Grand Theft Auto meme of, oh shit, here we go again. But I'm glad they got out ahead of that. And, you know, I
should be
got
able to
nothing
download the app
negative
like
to
on your
say about
TV.
that.
You'll be able to download the app on your TV too, right?
I still got to check because I downloaded it on my phone. And a lot of the times when I download stuff on the iPhone, it automatically puts the app on the Apple TV. But I still haven't checked yet. But worst case scenario, you know, you could airdrop it or mirror it. Like, you know.
I don't have an Apple TV, Bobby. I'm old school. I don't have a
but
box TV.
you can mirror something. I mean,
yeah.
And worst case scenario, like even if it just is the phone, this is a lot easier than going on some website we will not name for obvious reasons to watch the fight. So, you know, I'm glad they got out ahead of it because I thought this was going to be something that they were doing for the weekend of the fight. Now it will remain to be seen when there is a live event going on. Will this motherfucker not crash into the ground? But, you know, at the same time, I got full faith because it looks like it's operating pretty nice. And, you know, it is really only going to be, you know, people in America that are using it because everywhere else, you know, they have contracts to watch the fight. So, nothing but positives as far as PFL's going there, and give them credit.
That was a nice win, a good win. Like, you know what, the UFC was getting some bad press with the Apex situation, and I felt like the PFL is a win week for our guy Don and the boys at PFL. Like, I feel like good win,
acknowledging the mistakes and doing something about them.
Yeah,
TKO would just be like, "Fuck you! You can catch us next time. We do not care about you. You are a consumer." And, you know, it feels
you're still going to purchase it.
Yeah. But I mean, that's really what it is. It's, you know, these Apex cards are take your medicine. If you don't want your medicine, catch us on the pay-per-view. And we really felt that last weekend. But, you know, it's I saw some people being like, well, why'd they put Francis Ngannou on the app? You know, like it as the poster for it. It's like, you know, while you got him, you might as well use him, you know?
Yeah. I mean, they could put Jake Paul on there, I guess, you know, but why not use Francis? Oh, man. Bobby, let's go ahead and crack up hit the Stone Cold music. It's UFC 316 live in the great state of New Jersey, baby. And I say great state, you know, half-heartedly and jokingly. But before we break down this main card, we got to look at the prelims. I mean, the prelims have some really good fights on them as well. I mean, headlines kind of the main event prelim. Our guy Joshua Van is like his 8th fight in 2 years, so he's been pretty active. And then we got the fight that everybody on the internet has been talking about is none other than Waldo Cortez Acosta versus Sergey Spivak. You know, I mean, 2 heavyweight elites, 2 guys that, I mean, they could go on a run here and they could be facing, you know, future title challengers in this great heavyweight division that is the UFC. Also, how about this? Chaos Williams getting his 3rd opponent in amount of like 2 weeks, a week's time. Remember, he was scheduled to fight somebody, that person dropped out, then was scheduled to fight a person, and then he couldn't clear medics. So then they're bringing on Andres Gustafsson, who was supposed to fight in that shit show last week, but his opponent pulled out Friday due to weight, and now he's stepping in to fight Chaos Williams in 1 week's time. You got Wayne Kong trying to make a comeback. You know, she's back on the card too. So nice, some nice prelims. Your favorite pick of the prelims here?
Had to do favorite pick. I'm gonna have to mention 2. You already brought them up, but I mean, all the ones you shout out were great, and especially when I was kind of shitting on the card before, like looking at the whole thing being built. Like, these prelims really feel like some good prelims. I mean, you can make an argument some of these are better than fights on the main card. But, you know, The main one, that the reason that the Waldo Cortez one caught my eye, and full disclosure, I used to think Waldo had no business in the UFC at all. I remember seeing him in an Apex card. He was moving slow. He just looked like, an uninspiring heavyweight in the Apex. And it's like, we kind of know where this is going. Fast forward, he looked a lot lighter on the feet. He kind of moves fast. And the reason I'm kind of excited for it is, we already know Spivak has been handled by Tom. But if Waldo is able to hold off on some pretty elite Russian wrestle fucking, I think he has just as much of a case as any of these other guys to get a, shot at Tom if, things don't go down the road. I'm not going to get into the whole Jones thing again, but like, it feels like a fight. Like, okay, this might show us if, we got a future player in the heavyweight division. Now, save all the jokes, because I probably have equally made all the jokes about Waldo there. Shout out to Sean Corn for putting up with my, Waldo disparity. I really ran him through the ringer. But just like Dricus du Plessis, like, I will admit when I think I'm wrong about someone, I'm not obviously trying to put Waldo up there, but he moves a lot quicker than like a traditional heavyweight would. So to me, I think if he can get by Spivak, that would be a very kind of interesting thing to see how that could like play out down the line. But undoubtedly, if I'm just going to mention one, even though I mentioned that, it's absolutely Joshua Van versus Silva there. I mean, Van has been on a tear. He is definitely someone that I think should be ranked a little bit higher in 125, but that division is pretty beefy, 1 all the way down to 13. So I kind of get it. But and did you say that is the headliner for the prelims there?
Yeah.
Absolutely justified. So I mean, that I can't think of a better fight to carry us into the pay-per-view than that one. So I'm definitely glad they're getting his Van his shine. He could have easily opened the main card there, but hey, he'll get more eyes on it this way. And I'm really excited to see if he can kind of keep that streak going, because Silva's no punk. Even though the line shows Van being heavily favored, I think that'll be a pretty good fight.
Yeah, real quick, I'm going to back up to the heavyweight fight. Spivak versus Waldo. Spivak is 7. So I mean, Waldo beats him. He's ranked 11, so it would jump up a few spots. Like, you're kind of right. Tom's kind of went through the cream of the crop. If he becomes or whatever happens there, we're not too sure. We speculate every week, but that's a
Waldo's
fight
taking this on short notice, so like he's definitely getting a huge opportunity with that.
Yeah, he was supposed to fight Darren Spann, I think, on the last car on that shit show last week, right?
Yeah, and well, Spivak was supposed to fight our one favorite boy. I know I'm gonna butcher his name if I even try to pronounce it. But like, he got pulled, but it was kind of a early pull, and gave kind of Waldo plenty of time to get this. So I don't really view it as a short notice opportunity. I know he was kind of already in camp, but this is definitely an opportunity that if he wins, he can definitely like catapult. And for the love of God, if he wins this, don't have him headline the fucking Apex. Like, let's keep him in the crowd and keep him in the bigger octagon, because I definitely like his chances in the bigger octagon a lot more than the smaller octagon, if you catch my drift.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. I think this is like his first time, to me. Like, I remember him fighting outside the Apex.
Probably, because every time I was bitching about him, it was in the Apex. So I'm pretty sure it was. And I mean, great. That's like half the environment of me watching it. Like, oh, good God. Like, yeah, we got 15 minutes of this. But, I am really interested to see how, because we know what Spivak is going to want to do. So I'm sure Waldo's aware of that. So I'm very interested to see how it ends up playing out. You know, there's a very good chance that he could just be getting laid on or even submitted early if, you know, Spivak is able to, you know, do some damage there. But, you know, I do think a lot of times you look at heavyweight fights and you're like, well, what does this fight even mean? Like, we don't even know what's going on. Like, if Waldo can get past him, that will be a fresh matchup down the line for a lot of other guys in the top 10, like not just Tom. So, you know, I know we don't normally make picks on the prelims, but all day, give me the underdog and pull out that dog mask. Give me Waldo Cortez.
All right. I'm kind of right there with you, actually. Waldo Cortez is on a run. He's won his last four. And I don't actually, I take that back. He's fought, actually, so I was looking it up. He's fought quite a bit, actually, outside the Apex. He was on the Holloway Korean Zombie card, the Ankalaev versus Walker 2. I think that was that the Apex, maybe? I don't remember. And then his last two for sure were in the Apex, but did fight outside the Apex at least once. So there's that. I mean, Spivak's, I feel like he's had some nice wins here as well. He's 17-5. I guess he did lose to Jalton Almeida. I mean, he did beat Derek Lewis.
That upper echelon, like in the top 5, he seems to struggle with. But at the same time, he's a tough night in the office for any of these guys. And like,
I mean, he's won 4 out of his last 6, so it's not like he is coming off the Jalton Almeida loss, but he's still 4 out of his last 6. So
yeah, and like he definitely has hands, but like I absolutely kind of expect him to wrestle. That's his best avenue of the fight, and Waldo's best avenue is you know, probably maintaining the distance. And I was excited to see it a week ago. So
real quick, that Josh Van's a minus 700 favorite, so he's a huge favorite. So you know, that shows you where the odds makers think how good they think he is and can be. So,
as much of a favorite as Kayla Harrison. Pretty wild.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Let's open up the main card. It is the 2 welterweights, Vincent Luque. It's crazy. I think Luque, outside the title fights, is the only fighter ranked. I was just double checking, and I'm pretty sure he is still ranked at 14. Like, or Mario Batista's ranked. I'm sorry, he's ranked too. So there's that. But they're the only ones outside the title fights.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know Vicente was ranked. Good for him.
He's 14. 14. And he's I'm gonna set it up for you real quick.
Yeah.
So he's 14. Luque he's lost his last 2 out of his last 3 here. He's 2-3 in his last 5. He's 23-10. He is the dog on the card at plus 230. He's hasn't fought this year, and he's taking on Kevin Holland, who's already in his 3rd fight this year, who's also 2-3 in his last 5. It's 27-13, but Kevin Holland's minus 280.
Really? Wow. Yeah. They might just be basing that off the activity. You know, I think the last time Luque had a fight, I ended up going against him because I just didn't know how he was going to deal with damage and stuff, because he had such, you know, the long layoff and stuff. And
what his last fight?
He looked fantastic. Yeah. And, you know, I got a lot of respect for Kevin Holland, but I don't think I've been more wrong picking anyone more than Kevin Holland. Like, I seem to always pick him when he loses and vice versa there.
Right. Same.
Especially, like, I mean, that last one when he fought like more at a fight night, he fought
Gunnar Nelson in just a while ago.
Yeah, he didn't have to deal with like the presser and all that like kind of extra media stuff. And I'm sure if he preferred it, that's exactly what he would want to do, is just slide in, get his paycheck, you know, get in, get out. And that's essentially what he did there. But like stylistically, I can completely see why this is opening up on the main card. It should absolutely be entertaining. But I had no idea the line was that heavy. I thought it would be much more kind of closer to a pick 'em with like Holland slightly favored because of the activity. But God damn, I mean, that almost has me like second guessing my pick now. But I don't know. At the same time, I just really liked what I saw from Luque last time. So I was leaning Luque before I knew about the line. So I think that's kind of where I'm going to stay. That probably means Kevin Holland is now going to win. But, I think I'll have to kind of lean more Vicente here. But to me, this fight is more of a pick 'em. I think that minus 280 is a little wild. Maybe they think, Holland has multiple avenues to win the fight. But
I think so. I'm
a little surprised the line is that heavy. I mean, granted, he is a fan favorite too, so that's going to garnish a little public money. But yeah, I don't know. I really that last performance from Vicente Luque looked like kind of the old Vicente Luque that we were getting when he was going on that tear. So I think I'm going to lean him. No disrespect to Big Mouth.
Yeah, Luque to me wants Holland's pretty decent on the ground, but we know he wants to kind of keep it standing. I think, and I like Holland's stand-up game more than I like Vincent Luque's. Holland looked good against his last fight against Gunnar Nelson. I thought that was his first win in his last three. So like he was on a 2-fight skid prior to that. Now, one of those was at middleweight. I've always said, like, if he could just take welterweight serious, I think he can make a run. I remember Luque lost to not his last time out, but time before that, lost to Joaquin Buckley. Kevin Holland did beat Joaquin Buckley, but that was at middleweight. And it's crazy, like where their careers are now from that fight from Holland and Buckley. But man, you don't want to do the MMA math, but I don't know. I just feel like I've always just felt good about Kevin Holland when he's dialed in. And maybe like he does better on those fight nights, like you said, because he's not having to do the presser. But he didn't really say a whole lot today on the presser. There wasn't a whole lot. Just said like he wanted to know what Buckley wanted, and they kind of asked him who's next, and he said he just takes the easiest guy at 170. He said Colby Covington, which to me that stylistically is probably the worst matchup for him, but nonetheless. I'm going to disagree with you. So Luque probably wins, but maybe something's got to break. You said every time you pick against Holland, he wins. Every time you pick, and I think it's the same way. Every time I pick him to win, he loses, and every time I pick him to lose, he wins. So something's got to give, Bobby. I'm going to go with Kevin Holland here to get back in the welterweight rankings.
Yeah, and I completely agree. You've already flipped me. The only reason I'm not changing my pick is now I legitimately think, I mean, who am I? I'm obviously not jinxing him, but like if I like flip-flop and then he loses, I am the problem. But like you brought up a good point with Gunnar Nelson. Like I really thought Holland was going to struggle, and he looked great in that fight. So I think I'm going to walk that back. I kind of get why the line is minus 280 now.
Yeah. Let's get into everybody's favorite fighter, Mario Batista. I think he's like number 10 welterweight or bantamweight here. He's 15-0. He's won 7 in a row. We haven't seen it's been a while since we saw him. But his last 3 fights, all by decisions. Remember, he beat Jose Aldo last year, and he is the dog at plus 150, and he's taking on the debuting Patchy Mix. Patchy's 20-0. It's been over a year since he's fought. His last fought May of 24. He is also on a 7-fight win streak. So one of these winning streaks got to go. Will it be everybody's favorite fighter, Mario Batista? I almost want, Bobby, I told you this before, I almost want Mario Batista to win so the internet will burn to the ground. He can get so much heat. He can become Randy Orton 2009 Randy Orton heat. If he just goes in there, if he decisions Patchy makes it looks just like the Aldo fight. Oh, the internet will die.
Yeah, no, that would be pretty entertaining to see. And it's wild, like still to this day, like he definitely takes a lot of hate for sure. And all the guy does technically is keep winning, but
yeah,
I do get why people are booing when he's like, I don't consider it stalling, but if Aldo can't get off the fence, it's similar to like Pereira with Ankalaev. Like, what do you expect him to do? Like, keep going back to the well. But what I noticed is Patchy was watching that fight, and he was literally commenting like, oh, if he thinks he's going to be able to hold me up against the fence, he's got everything coming. And I don't know if it's just like jitters of wanting to get in the octagon, but Patchy thinks he's going to like legitimately walk through him. Like those are his words, not mine. And I think even at the presser, he said he was looking through him like directly. So there is a very small part of me for sure that makes me think, we have seen this song and dance before. And, Batista is battle tested. And with the layoff, could this like be a scenario where, maybe he could stall out some rounds to get the decision? But, I think Patchy is just a proven finisher, and he is going to be looking for that finish. So even at worst, if he can't get the finish, I would at least expect him to be able to get the decision. So this is definitely a little bit more of a vibes one too, I think, because you just see him going into it and you want to see him have success after kind of not being frozen out by the PFL, but not being able to get fights in a reasonable manner and stuff. So, and like, let's be honest, this is the best thing for this division for him to win. Because, if he wins this, he's probably one away from being able to get a title shot.
He said title shot next. I mean, he is taking this on a short notice. It wasn't who was supposed to originally fight him? Was it
Chito Vera?
Chito, yeah. That's
yeah.
What his name wasn't coming to me for some reason.
And normally I disagree with that, but we are already in a scenario where the UFC is booking rematches for Merab. So if Patchy,
the only person that's out there to me is Corey. If Merab wins,
yeah, and I really feel for Corey here because like he's right there probably on being able to get the next title shot, and now there's this guy that's on an insane winning streak, granted in a different division, but
different company.
Yeah, I could see that going either way. I would also love them to just match up Patchy and Corey. But, at the same time, and we'll get to this later in the main event breakdown, but I do think Corey has a unique set of skills, especially how he fought Figueiredo there, and that could very well give Merab trouble. But, we can get to all that later. But as far as this one for the gavel, give me Patchy.
Yeah. The last PFL fighter that made his debut, was Pitbull a couple pay-per-views ago, and that didn't go so well for him. Difference is Patchy Mix is a lot younger, and at this point in probably a fighter at this point in their careers. Patchy's, is a former Bellator champion. He's kind of been there, so it's not like there are levels to this shit, but I feel like Patchy's probably where he should have been. At this age where he's supposed to be in at the prime of his career. He's supposed to be fighting the best of the best. So luckily he's, here, and he is taking a two kind of like I think really a 2.5, 3 week notice fight here. So not really a short notice fight, but still a short notice fight.
He trains at Extreme too. So like they know what it's like fighting in the UFC. He spars with a lot of those guys. So that's another reason I'm willing to kind of overlook the short notice aspect of it, especially, with he hasn't fought in a while.
Yeah. It's been over a year. So, but I like Patchy Mix here. I'm with you. I'm gonna take Patchy here too to get his first win in the UFC, and it'll be real interesting where he goes in the rankings on if he wins and on Tuesday. But man, I slightly want to root for Mario Batista just so some people just want to watch the world burn, Bobby, and I might be one of them people.
Yeah, I will immediately go on Twitter if that is it will be pretty generational for sure.
I hope he just wins and it's just like holding up against the cage and it's just like foot stomp after foot stomp, or just if he's gonna win, I don't want him to go in there and just scarch Patchy, because then that's not that fun. If he does it the way he beat Aldo and just hold him and just this slow maniacal bullshit, I mean, give me that. He'll
probably cut an epic promo too, because the entire arena is going to be booing the shit out of him. So it could make for a pretty viral moment.
Yeah. Let's get into the third fight on the card here. This fight was supposed to happen a couple weeks ago in Mexico, but Joe Pyfer got sick. And then, they did Joe Pyfer a solid for a guy who got sick. I mean, he went from fighting in Mexico to fighting in New Jersey, and he's from Philly. So, just kind of not too far from his own hometown. And he's taking on Kevin Gastelum. Gastelum's lost his last, he's 2-3 in his last 5. He is 29. Back at middleweight after the miserable attempts at welterweight, and he's taking on Joe Pyfer. We haven't seen Joe in almost over a year. He had fought twice last year, lost his first of the year to Jack Hermanson, and then he had a nice bounce back win. He said he didn't get fraud checked. Joe's a huge favorite, by the way, at minus 380. But let me ask you what his comments before we start breaking down the fight. He kind of said he didn't get fraud checked against Jack Hermanson. He said if somebody got fraud checked, it was Bo Nickel. Your thoughts on his comments and if he loses, you could match up him and Bo Nickel.
I mean, you're asking the wrong person on this. I despise that phrase. I think it is moronic. Like it might just be like a younger kid kind of thing. And I've said, all I really want Joe to do is stay off the internet, because like everything he says in the press conference that bothers him, you can tell it's just some, troll talking shit to him and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's from Philly. He's got thick skin. But
he's supposed to have thick skin, right? Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, but like he wears his emotions on his sleeves. Like, it doesn't like really shock me. And granted, like he had a chance to walk back the comments. He's not going to walk back the comments. But all that stuff's for social media. Like the fight, like you said, we were supposed to get this months ago. We were pretty hyped that it was going down, and I don't know, like maybe they did him a solid, but like regarding to the comments, I would absolutely say in the way Bo Nickel lost, I would definitely agree with Joe's assessment a lot more, because Joe won rounds in that Hermanson fight and then had kind of shortcoming and gassed out. But me, I'm gonna throw that term out the window, but not trying to reside with the Philly guy too much. I'm a little biased there, but I don't know. Like, I just take his comments as someone that is from South Philly. So to me, it doesn't really, no skin off my back, but I could understand why other people would take exception to it. But I mean, the key is they gave him the same matchup and they ran it back. Like, to me, more than the location, if the UFC wanted to be strict with something, they would have given him a much, tougher opponent. And I'm not trying to sell Kelvin short, because he's always going to kind of be live. He's looked pretty good in some of his last fights. But I don't know. To me, like, a lot of those comments just come down to the terrible questions that are asked at media day. So, do better, MMA media.
Yeah, it's weird to me that like the word fraud checked, it only happens in like MMA, right? Like if I don't know, say like the Chiefs lost to like the I don't know, fucking some shitty ass team, right? Like they lost to the Titans. Do we like do they are we always like, oh, they got fraud checked? No, they just lost. You know what I mean? Like you're on to the next one. Like MMA, especially like, is the only sport to me where people are like, oh, they got fraud checked. They get fraud checked. They just lost. Like he lost to a fight. Bo Nickel lost to a fight. And I kind of asked you this, and I kind of, if RDR goes out, let's just say he goes out and scorches Robert Whitaker when they fight, that loss doesn't look so bad on Bo Nickel. You know what I mean? Like, so,
I mean,
you can't really say he got fraud checked. It to me, it's like you lost to a lesser opponent, but you lost to a 2-division champ. So I don't really think he got fraud checked, and I don't think that Joe got fraud checked either.
And an even better example of this is people were saying the same shit about Bobby Knuckles when Dricus, walked through him. Yeah. And look what happened. Dricus is the current middleweight champion and is 1 win away from being like number 2 all time at 185. So, like I said, I think that's just a term used on the internet by 16-year-old girls. I don't actually, think anyone that critically watches these fights is actually going like, oh yeah, he got fraud checked. Like, I mean,
agreed. I just think you lose, you win, and that's just kind of how it. That's well, you can lose. You know what I mean? You did if somebody beats you, they were better that day. You know what I mean? So like they were just better that day. So yeah, I don't think Joe got But what are your thoughts on this matchup? I really like Joe in this matchup. The line fits to me, minus 380. Kelvin's just not. I mean, when you're going up and down, you can't figure it out. It just means you're probably never going to figure it out again. Like he had a nice little run at the top for a minute, and then it's just like his size isn't really. He's not really a middleweight. Like his size isn't right. Like he can't.
Yeah.
And then he's too big to be. He's not. I don't even want to say he's too big. He's not disciplined enough to fight at 170.
And Joe is a very big 185.
Yeah.
So
the last time he fought, he looked massive.
Yeah. So you're taking on like a big 185 or someone that probably could fight at 205 against a smaller guy at 170. And I mean, I even said in Kelvin's last performance, like all of his fights should be at 185 from here on out. I didn't think they were doing the Joe Pyfer matchup because, I don't want to get into this trope of saying like Joe is expected to win in this because like you look at the line and stuff. But I mean, if you remember back, we've already picked this one once. And I know we were both in agreement with what we thought was going to happen there. So does the extra long camp help, Gaslam with...
Joe's been sick. He said he's been sick the whole time for the most part, so...
Currently or before?
Like, before, it took him a couple weeks to get over that, whatever the hell he had in Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So it's not like he was training that great.
So, yeah, and that probably, Gaslam's best key to victory is probably to prolong the fight and get it into that second and third round. And very similar to how, Hermanson was able to wear on him and stuff. But, I think there was enough time really in between both of these events for everything. And you don't really have to deal with any of the unknowns. Like it's much more of kind of a local travel for Joe, even though I'm sure he hates Jersey as much as you do. But, I really can't see this going any other way. So give me Joe Pyfer there.
I want to ask you, like, I'm just thinking about Joe and all the shit he's been like when he first came out, it was like be Joe Pyfer, and he had this great story about him. You know what I mean? Like somebody you wanted to root for, like all the things he's overcome. And like you just said too, like he doesn't really have the thickest skin. I feel like he lets a lot of shit that fucking people say on the internet or say about him. And he just like, it's just like bro, like you've overcame so much worse than these trolls out here. Like, what are you doing? And, you know what I mean? Like, I don't really feel like, I don't know if like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like it'd be, I think he could get so much over as a baby face. Um, his turn of like wrestling. Like I feel like he wants to be a heel, but his backstory is a baby face. And if he would just lead into that and just kind of, talk more about that, not let things bother him. And I feel like he could be a baby face in this game, but his attitude and the way he dresses and the way he acts is heelish.
Yeah, I mean, he's always gonna have that chip on his shoulder. Like if you're familiar with his story, that's just kind of gonna be the way he is.
Yeah, and rightfully so. But you wouldn't think that so much shit like that people say and would just fucking get to him. You know what I mean? But also,
Yeah,
he sounds like every other
as well
fucking
as I do,
Philadelphia
this
guy I've
fan
ever
base
talked
can be
to.
cocksuckers at times, you know?
Yeah.
So
Again, he sounds like every South Jersey fucking Philly person too. So yeah, just chalk it up to that.
yeah, I mean, to me, it just sounds like, Thanksgiving if I go back east. Like it, like I get where people are coming from for sure. But at the same time, like, you said it kind of best with that B. Joe Pfeiffer moment. Anytime Dana praises anyone, there's always going to be a little bit extra target on their back if that guy fails, and they'll rake him through the coals. And I really think that's what a lot of it is. But at the same time, I do know people that were big fans of him that, it, the one dude said it best. Like, my favorite thing about it is like B. Joe Pfeiffer. And now the thing I don't like about him is B. Joe Pfeiffer. But that all that stuff's going to fluctuate. And, knocking out Gaslam cold, a lot of that stuff will, kind of creep to the sidelines.
Yeah. Gaslam's last fight was at 170. Fought D-Rod in one a tough unanimous decision, but he's had to pull out like 3 fights. He missed weight and just a couple of things since then. And then they're like, tell him, take your fat ass back up to 185 because you can't make 170. So
I mean, that was kind of why I was surprised they rebooked this in the first place, because like Joe pulled out, and then okay, we're gonna rebook it against a guy that has pulled out multiple times. Like, they must have had a backup or something. But I mean, TKO, they love playing in the fire. So
I think they just want to they want Joe to get back on track and build his name off of Kevin Gastelum, who fought for the title.
Yeah. And that is what this matchmaking signifies to me. Like, absolutely, that's what I see. But, whenever people count Kelvin out too, that's when he seems to ride to these occasions. But,
will they announce him UFC Hall of Famer, Kevin Gastelum?
I mean, they should. Like, legitimately, he absolutely deserves that spot for that fight, and you see those type of performances and you're like, he can compete at the highest level there. But like, let's be real, like Izzy is also like a smaller 185er, I mean, he's got the length and stuff, but Joe is kind of built like a tank. So Kelvin has a very tested chin though. So like, if Joe is able to get him out of there, I would be very impressed. I don't care what the line says. I think there's a pretty decent chance that this is a war and it ends up going to decision. But if it doesn't, I mean, that B. Joe Pfeiffer train will be right back up. And like middleweight is.
Yeah, I don't know if I said B. Joe Pfeiffer. That's what.
Yeah. I mean, we've technically picked it twice, so I just kind of assumed your pick.
Yeah. Let's get into the co-main event. I expect a little bit more shit talking from them at the presser today, because I guess maybe the previous presser they were really going into it, but it is none other than the bantamweight champion Juliana Pena, 13-5. Both of them fought on that same card in October. Remember, there was that weird moment where they cut to Kayla in the back and she didn't even say Kayla's name, so she kind of no-sold her. So
and when has the UFC ever done that too?
Yeah,
like that was
Kayla Harrison, 18-1, undefeated in the UFC. She is minus 800, while Juliana Pena is plus 500. There's never been a champ this big of an underdog, I don't believe, right? Like, I mean,
No, not that big. I mean, even
plus
Holly
500.
Holm versus Ronda wasn't that
But
high.
Ronda was the champion.
Yeah, that too. And I mean, the UFC does such a bad job at promoting like them. I mean, granted, they did the face off side by side and like they put effort into it. But what I mean by that comment is like I completely forgot that Juliana Pena has won the title twice. Because
Yeah.
like literally since she won the title off Raquel Pennington, nothing, you know, granted, that's just kind of the way the TKO machine rolls these days. Like when we need you for the title fight, we'll have you booked, then they promote you. I do have to give the UFC their flowers for promoting it that way, even though it got a little old to me after seeing it originally in the first presser, then the face-to-face, then we had this presser, and I mean, the main difference between this presser and the last presser is they weren't cutting weight in this presser.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, I thought Kayla was just going to kind of bite her lip and let Juliana talk, but she was throwing it back at her. So, you know, I'd be lying if I was going to say that is what's selling me for this fight. What's selling me for this fight is much more going to be what happens in the fight. But it is kind of a nice little switch up when so many times they have these title fights in the women's division, and it just feels like a little stale. Like it's just like the co-main event that they have on to have a second title fight on the card. This legitimately feels like a anticipated title fight to me. So I'm definitely excited.
And winner gets Amanda Nunes too. So there's that.
Yeah. And, you know, another thing that Kayla ain't holding back from, saying, you know, after it's you, I'm going straight for Amanda. If I'm not mistaken, they have Amanda and Corey Sandhagen doing a fan presser tomorrow. So, yeah. I mean, the UFC is clearly leaning that heavy. Amanda will probably be in the crowd. But I don't know. A big part of me, just like you led with Mario Batista, we got all these, you know, assumptions, and the MMA gods don't like, you know, you making those assumptions. But like, how stone cold would it be if Juliana Pena actually wins? She goes to call out to Amanda. They peer to Amanda in the crowd, and she already walked up and left because she has no interest in running that back, and she really only is there for Kayla.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's possible. She says she's willing to fight anybody that comes back. Our guy Albazi, Kayla's agent, he said the plan is fight Amanda at 145, beat her at 145, and then Amanda cuts to 135, and then they fight there too. So there'd be two Nunes fights.
I mean, I hate to agree with Ali. However, it is pretty ironic. Like when they finally got Kayla Harrison, they scrapped the 145 division. And that's the thing that I'm second guessing a little bit. Because like Kayla has gotten wins in the octagon. However, she definitely looks a lot slower at 135 compared to 155. And I mean, granted, that makes sense. I mean, she is really depleting her body to make that weight. I know it doesn't look at it with how fucking shredded she looked at the press conference, but like, make no mistake, that is absolutely a toll to get there. And, you know, the last time I said, I really have, you know, no questions about her making the weight again. I don't have questions, but that is going to be the main thing I'm tuning in to the weigh-ins in the morning for, to see, you know, how quickly she's going to be on the scale, because making that championship weight definitely is different than making 136. I mean,
she's made 136. She's never made 135 on the dot.
Like you remember Strickland, the first time he fought Izzy, when he cut that extra pound, you could tell he was struggling. He's like, that extra pound, man, it doesn't seem like much. So I don't know. I don't mean to discredit Juliana by saying a lot of my concerns are outside of the cage, but I mean, Juliana's kind of alluded to it. Like, are you even going to be able to make the weight and stuff? And I do think that is a proper narrative going into this, but I'm pretty sure she's, fully committed and ready. My only question is really how much more do they get out of this division? I think that matchmaking out loud by Ali is him kind of hinting, hey, if you're going to do Nunes, I'm sure she would love to come back at 145 in the first place. She hasn't competed in 2 years, so that cut can't be the easiest for her. And, then they could, I'm not even going to exhaust the whole 2-division champ thing because then I'd be a hypocrite. But yeah, I caught myself there. But I don't know. We have seen Juliana kind of shock the world once. And I mean, I'd ask you, what would be more surprising? Juliana winning this fight, and like, screw what the odds makers are saying, because like they've kind of spoken for it. But what would be more surprising? Juliana winning this fight, or how she was able to beat Amanda Nunes, who at the time everyone considered the GOAT. So
like, who would be more surprising that she beat?
Yeah, what would be more surprising to you, that she was able to beat Kayla?
To beat Amanda, because like we don't know, you know what I mean? I think the weight cut, and Amanda's just a better fighter, I feel like, and you know what I mean. If they fought, maybe I'll change my mind, depending on what Kayla looks like Saturday night. Who are you picking here?
I've been going back and forth with it because I can definitely see avenues, especially like it didn't seem like Kayla wore the damage well when she got split open and stuff, and she was able to get the decision out. But Juliana is very good at like blitzing and making the fight ugly, and that's absolutely what she's gonna have to do.
She loves to make it a brawl, like a brawl. Yeah.
But then again, at the same time, like when you see her doing these blitzings and stuff, I just have a hard time believing that Kayla isn't going to be able to, get close and, judo throw her or get a takedown in. And, but, Juliana has won the title twice. So I think the line is pretty wild. Like, I do think Kayla should be the favorite, but minus 700 going into a title fight is just pretty insane. But, I'm not making an underdog betting prediction. I'm going to make my prediction in what I think is least possible to happen, or least, I botched that, but you know what I was going to say.
Most possible likely to happen?
Give me what the odds makers are saying. I think
Kayla Harrison?
Yes, I think Kayla Harrison will be able to get it done. Because especially when you saw Amanda make those adjustments in the Nunes rematch, I think Kayla will just be able to do that too well, and at least be able to get a decision there. But, if Juliana wins, I think it is going to be with some type of, TKO or something, inflicting damage and being able to follow up. But, for the gavel, give me Kayla Harrison there.
Yeah, I've been high on Kayla Harrison for a long time, since like her back in the PFL days. I thought she was one of the best fighters on the planet. I still think that this is also one of them scenarios like, man, if Pena wins, like I want to see Pena win because I just want that promo. Like I know she's gonna cut a fucking promo of all fucking promos, and I want to hear it because like I'm a big people. If you like just what she was gonna say, I don't think Kayla's not that she's a shit talker, but she's not like that type of shit talker. And I don't really need to see. I don't need to see Pena Nunez 3. Like, I don't think there's any sort of appetite for that. Like, if so I get Amanda being like, "Nah, I don't want that shit." Like, I beat her down through 5 rounds last time.
I do think Juliana deserves it though, since it is 1-1 with the fashion. But
agreed. I'll give you that. And how about that? Like, if she wins, she would get the pay-per-view points too. The second two times.
Yeah.
So there's that.
And I mean, going back to your watching the world burn, I mean, that would be, because we've already seen Pena, do, like, when she beat Nunez, she, pulled the "I'm not surprised, motherfuckers."
Yeah.
Like, that would probably be in the running for a promo of the year for sure.
Yeah, so I think she could, but unfortunately, I don't think we'll get that, Bobby. I just think Kayla's too. I think Kayla. What I think is Kayla will be able to handle her the first 3 rounds, and then I think about midway through the 4th, she'll probably get a little tired. Pena will probably win rounds 4 and 5, and then that'll be Kayla Harrison by decision because she's going to win the first.
More.
Go ahead.
Forgot to also mention, I am very intrigued that Pena is dealing with one of Kayla's former like judo coaches or something like that. So, I mean, Juliana has obviously, not cut any corners and is using every expense possible to win this. So that just makes me, all the more excited.
If Pena wins, it's got to be like the 2 biggest upsets in UFC history, like money wise. Like, she would probably have, like, to be the only person to have 2 of the biggest, like,
gambling. And what will they say about her then? Because, like, literally, those are 2 fights that no one gave her any chance in hell of winning, and she won. So that's going to be an even greater discussion come next Wednesday if it happens.
Yeah. So, I mean, the storylines are there. I mean, both ways. But like I said, give me a new UFC women's bantamweight champion of the world, Kayla Harrison. I think let's get into it. The main event. They fought back last year. Sean O'Malley, the way he tells it, Bobby, is that he fought that fight injured. Tore his, I think, like I don't even know what muscle it was now off the top of my head. But tore a muscle before the fight.
His hip.
Labrum, that's what it was. I was thinking it was a labrum. But tore his labrum a couple weeks before the fight. Fights did not, I will say this, he did not look like himself, but I credited to Merab on that. O'Malley has not fought since, which is kind of wild. Merab obviously defended the belt against Umar just earlier this year. And O'Malley has, not dyed the hair, cut off social media, doing all the changes to try to get his belt back. Today, he said he's going to whoop Merab's ass. Merab said he's going to humble him another time. Was kind of getting himself a little rallied up. You've mentioned it, and there's people on the internet said Merab's weight cut does not look great. I think he broke his toe at one point in this fight, but Merab is 12 has won 12 in a row. His last loss is 2018, Bobby. Here we are. It's the main event.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, to go back a little bit with history, like when this came out, I was, pretty adamant. I understood the matchup for 2 aspects. Like, obviously the UFC was aware that O'Malley was injured, and I think they're definitely doing him a little bit of a solid.
I think
giving
he did
him the
rematch, and then they returned the favor. Yeah,
because he did not pull out that spear card. Because, like, if they had to like scramble for an interim or something, that would have made that lackluster card even more lackluster. Even though the fight was a little lackluster, but like you said, he was very tentative and very low output. He did get damage in though in the 5th round. I mean, He was kind of working that body and stuff, and then when they announced this, I kind of like it for the Merab side in the aspect of, he took that Umar fight and, he ended up winning the Umar fight. So, why not give him, an easier Ruby than normal? But at the same time, I think that was a little bit misguided in my thoughts because I think O'Malley actually was really injured, and that did hamper a lot of the movement and stuff and him being able to train grappling. Now, whether or not it will have any different of an outcome, I'm still kind of on the fence about that. But, not being able to grapple when you are fighting a guy that is going to want to do more or less nothing but grapple, that's absolutely going to be problematic. And, it's good to see him taking it seriously, cutting out all the social media and stuff. But even he's playing that down a lot. I mean, he's saying that he just is really trying to focus on his work in the cage and stuff. Some of the stuff I saw in Embedded was a little concerning with, it seems like Tim Welch has opened up a very big gym out there now, and he's dealing with a lot more fighters. To my knowledge, it was always a lot more kind of one-on-one with him and Sean and stuff. So I have no doubt in my mind that he's still giving O'Malley all the time in the world and stuff like that. But just his body, like, I know it's kind of like weird reading the coach's body language, right? But you compare his body language, Tim Wells saying, "Yeah, well, we've done everything we can to prepare. We're just going to see it." And then you got, is it John Wood? Is his name? Merab's coach.
Ray Longo, I thought it was.
No, that's his other, coach that I don't want to say Merab left and stuff, but Longo is much more of a pick you up by your bootstrap. I'm going to curse at you. You get this done, Merab.
Yeah, New York style. New York style.
John Woods is undoubtedly what is the reason for Merab leveling up like this. Like, I absolutely think he was crucial to being able to get everything done with Umar. But a lot of people have, revisionist history for that Umar fight. Very well, I had that going 2-2 into the 5th round. I know you scored it a little differently, but I wasn't too much of a fan of Merab showboating in the 5th round when I thought that was the deciding round. But at the same time, I really liked that was John Wood's attitude as well. Like, he was pretty tough on his pupil, saying that he wants to see a finish out of this fight. And I know that might sound comical when you know how Merab fights and stuff. I think, the fight going to decision is minus 150 and stuff. But I don't think Merab just wants to beat him. I think he wants to finish him. And there definitely seemed to be, times where he probably could have got that done. But then if you look at it through Tim Welch's perspective, Merab isn't really going to hurt you. He's just going to try to control you. And going back when I picked O'Malley the first fight, that's what made me pick him, was the fact that I really had no fear of O'Malley getting finished and figured if he had 25 minutes to land the shot, that he could get something done. And the more and more I go back to it, the more and more I think about that. But then you just, look at Merab's cardio. It's just so well tested. And, we keep talking about O'Malley getting better. It's hard to say that Merab is not getting better. I mean, coming off that Umar fight and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to have to lean and still on this. I know a lot of people would probably prefer O'Malley to win for obvious reasons. As far as
UFC, I think, would prefer it.
Oh, well, that's no question at all. But, at the same time, with this new blood coming into the division, they got to, set that up. And I was very clear that I think Umar and Merab would fight again. Like, that is a rematch I would actually pay to see, unlike this one where it's like, oh, okay, I can kind of get there. But I don't know. Like, I will say, if Merab is actually serious about wanting to showcase his striking, I would pick O'Malley all day. But I don't believe that shit for a second. So, begrudgingly here, I'm gonna have to go with and still.
Yeah, I mean, I've probably picked Merab to lose his last maybe 4 fights. Like I know I picked him to lose Jan. I think I picked him to lose. I know I picked him to lose Umar, O'Malley. Was there a fight after Jan in between Jan? I can't remember.
He fought Umar, and we all three.
I mean, between Umar, between Jan and O'Malley, between Jan and O'Malley, was there a fight in there? I can't remember. I could have to look it up, but I probably picked him to lose every fucking time, and then I'm just tired.
So Cejudo was.
Oh yeah, no, I picked him to beat Henry. Yeah, that was I did pick him to beat Henry. So I mean, typically I pick him Merab to lose because I'm with you. There's just I don't ever see him finishing anybody, and I don't ever and it's just eventually somebody's gonna beat him, right? But it's just he just is relentless and so much pressure. And I told you this after his last fight. I was like, that's his finisher. That's how he finishes people. He just outwills and outlasts. His cardio is his biggest weapon, and it is just nonstop from bell to bell. All 25, 15 minutes, whatever the hell you want it to be. He's just in your face. I like last time, I thought O'Malley could find a shot, come to find. I kept thinking the whole fight that O'Malley just looked wrong. Something was off, and obviously the injury. But, how much did that have to deal with it? We'll see. I just don't see O'Malley. I don't know how. Nobody's been able to find that shot on Merab either. I also want to point that out. You know what I mean? He's fought the who's, and he just nobody has been able to find the range on him. Go ahead.
One thing I wanted to add, and this was kind of going back to Corey Sandhagen. I think O'Malley's best opportunity to win this fight is to move forward and pressure Merab. Last time, Merab did a great job of just staying on the outside. He was eating O'Malley's leg up with leg kicks and stuff. And that was kind of why I was mentioning Corey Sandhagen. I think Corey Sandhagen kind of has the best skill set to implement that game plan, because that's just not how, O'Malley fights. He kind of, looks for the shot and stuff. But, I know him and Tim watch a lot of tape. So, maybe that is going to kind of be more of what they try to implement. But I do think that would be his best chance, would just be to heavily pressure him, not worried about getting taken down. And,
I think that's the problems. They are worried about the takedown. But you don't really, the thing of it is with Merab, he takes you down and he just kind of, it's a little bit of ground and pound, but it's not like he's looking to submit you. You know what I mean? So it's if you can just pop back up, which I know is way easier said than done, it's a little different. But I'm kind of with you as far as they be the pressure on pressure, but I just don't know if that's what they're gonna how they're gonna fight, because O'Malley likes to kind of lean back and kind of sniper and find the shot. But man, this is gonna be very interesting on how this fight plays out.
I'm a hell of a lot more excited for it than I was when it was announced. That's for sure.
And I don't really know what we'll play that next week. If O'Malley loses, what happens? That'll be the question next week. So you think 145, but Merab is just. I've said it before, man. He literally is a machine, and his cardio is just insane. That's his number one thing is he's not really good at any, he's just insanely cardio, it's insane cardio that people just don't have. I mean, it's weird. I'm going to go and still UFC bantamweight champion of the world. I'm not going to even try to pronounce his last name, Dvalishvili.
Damn, we didn't pick one dog, did we?
Well, hold on, Bobby. I was waiting to give my dog out because, you know, I got to at least give out a dog in the card. But I didn't want to give it out too early because it's on the prelims. So.
Oh, shit. I know where we're going. Let's do it. Let's do it.
I'm going with your guy, the heavyweight, the other heavyweights, the prize of the heavyweights, the future heavyweight contender. My dog on the card at plus 120. I'm going find Waldo Cortez Acosta, baby.
Where's Waldo? They're about to fucking find out.
That's my dog. I didn't want to give it out too early. If I gave it out too early, it would have spoiled all the picks. So,
I get it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Create the suspense very well. No wonder you've been doing this way longer than me.
I figure we're all talking about the greatest fight on the card, so I might as well pick, the fighter I want to win on the most, talked about fight on this card is that prelim fight. Bobby, before we get out of here, any final thoughts?
No, not really. Just happy that I got a weekend where there's an actual pay-per-view card, which, I could actually enjoy. And, that should be real good. I think Bobby G asked me to do a guest spot tomorrow to break this down. So I'll probably do it all over again. And now I'm even more excited because, breaking down the main event back and forth, it's what really sold me. And, the possibilities and stuff. When it first got announced, I'm like, this is going to be so one-sided. And full disclosure, there's a good chance that, the co-main and main could be a little snoozy. But let's hope not.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Real quick, it's a 7-point game. The NBA Finals, about 3.5 left, 106-98 OKC. So I'm going to go finish watching that up. And then other than that, folks, we'll be back on our regular well, Bobby, if you would have asked me, I could probably make tomorrow night work. So let me you got my number. So let me know. Usually Friday or Saturday reserved for the fam, but we'll see. But anyway, we'll be back on our regular program, 8:00 Central, 9 Eastern next Wednesday. Kind of talk about all the fights, the UFC at 316. So cling some beers, break some glass, and give me a hell yeah. And that's pretty much it, folks. This has been another great episode of Headkicks and Haymakers. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, be a friend, tell a friend. And we'll see you next week.
Hell yeah.
Thanks so much for joining us, and until next time, let's talk sport, friends. Thanks for watching.